All right, good evening, gentlemen and ladies. We are sharing this broadcast to our various Facebook groups, and then we will start this episode of the Rob and Comrade Show. This is going to be an interesting episode tonight because we have got all-decade matchups. This is going to be an interesting
triggering episode.
What's that?
This is going to trigger some folks. Already has.
Who's it triggered?
Have you seen the post you made on the Rob and Comrade Show page?
Well, I mean, it didn't trigger.
Clemson fans are insulted that you're even going to even do this.
I don't know why they would be insulted.
They're insulted, but how dare you? I mean, how dare you even? Just no. I mean,
that one guy was.
There is insulting,
bro. With all due respect.
Well, are you serious, bro? Are you really going to do this? I mean, let's not even talk about this.
That's part of the reason I wanted to do this because, and we'll get into it. We'll get into it. A lot of it at the end, it's going to come back and pop a lot of your dumbass fans in their face too. But
I don't see our fans that they're going, we're definitely the best. Your fan base doesn't even want to talk. Like, how dare you even bring about this?
All right. Are you ready to get moving here? What are you drinking? You went out of that cup there, comrade? It says cock on it.
It might be. I think that Georgia recruit.
That's a fucking nasty.
That Georgia recruit tried to set me up.
That
was a nasty story.
That's the nastiest
I read
story.
that to my wife.
Did you hear that?
I read it to my wife, and she goes, "Who does that?"
Oh God.
Oh man, damn it!
I know what you're talking about now. Oh yeah.
I would whip somebody's ass. That shit would happen. Hold on, I got to get our music.
I told my wife the story. The kid I beat out for the starting quarterback job in high school. I was a sophomore. He was a junior. He was a senior. I'm sorry. I was a sophomore. He's a senior. I beat him out. He did not like it. We had played in the basketball team together. We had these lockers that were like had holes in them. You could see, they could. So the vent. He pissed in my locker. He urinated in my locker, and then we fought, and he got kicked out of the basketball team. That's the worst things ever. Like my wife, I was trying to tell my wife that story. Like she's like, "Who does that?" I go, "Well, the worst thing that ever happened that I saw was a dude just pissed my locker for like 2 days in a row. Like we didn't have practice. He went in there 2 days in a row. I walked in there, all over my practice jersey, and then we fought, and then he got kicked off the team, and that was the end of that.
Did you beat his ass?
He got a shot in, but I data pulled me off him. It was out by my house because I lived 100 yards from my house. I went to school. My high school was 100 yards from my house.
CP?
Yeah, so we basically walked over to my neighborhood, and we had a basketball game that night too. We had a basketball game, varsity basketball game that night, and we fought, and we showed back up. I had my eye was swollen. He was all messed up. Our coach just walks in, what happened, and so he starts telling the story. We fought, and I said he pissed in my locker 3 days in a row, and he went, "You did?" Oh yeah. He goes, "Get the hell out of here. You're done. You are done off this team. I want to see you." So that was the.
So he pissed in your locker. That's great.
Yeah, that's like that.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. Some of the listeners of this show would probably piss.
Yes, they would. They would.
They probably would.
I can still smell that smell. Like I can go back there and smell. Like, what the hell is that smell? And then my teammates told me this is what happened,
didn't it?
So what's that?
Did it cross your mind? Maybe I didn't wash my ass.
Well, I mean, listen. You know how high school locker rooms are, man. They smell pretty bad. And so part of you walk in and go like, "Oh man, God, I got to take my stuff home to wash it." I'm like, wait a minute. This is not.
Yeah. Not good, right? All right, Mike, are you guys ready? Mike, for some reason I can't hear you. I don't know what the hell happened. Did you mute yourself over there? Yeah, now unmute yourself.
Sometimes. There we go.
There we go. All right, here we go. Welcome into the latest edition of the Rob and Comrade Show, the podcast that divides the Palmetto State. I am Rob Sanders, your host. Happy New Year to you, folks. It is our first show of the new year. I represent the Clemson Tigers on this podcast. We are your reigning, defending national champions in the sport of football, which, let's be honest, that's the sport that most folks care about. We are playing for a national title in about, 8 days? In fact, yeah, we'll be right in the heart of stomping some LSU ass in about 8 days. Of course, the Clemson Tigers. I have 2 co-hosts because there is, might as well have 2 of them. One of them is the Dirty Russian. He is Vladimir Putin's bastard love child. He is the comrade, Mike Dobreski. Mike, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. It's good to be here. 2020, a new year of hope for Gamecock sports. This will be the year where we turn it all around in all the sports, not just women's basketball, where we're dominating, by the way, but men's basketball. Good Lord, what's going on with them? Baseball, of course, which is only it's 5 weeks away, 6 weeks away. I mean, it's coming up close.
Yeah.
And of course, football with the new Boom, Bobo, Jax trio, triumvirate.
It's going to be disgusting
to dominate. I'm just happy we have a fullback. We have a fullback now, bro. We have a fullback.
Right. We'll get into that.
Okay,
Let's welcome in the third person of the three-legged monster. He is, of course, the angry Gamecock at times, but the bald man from the upstate, Cale Hall. Cale, good evening, sir.
Great. It's great to be here. Happy 2020 to everybody.
Yeah. By the way, this is going to be our first episode that we're streaming on, in addition to Facebook Live. Tonight, I will post this episode on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube under Cale's channel, which is Carolina Jackpot. Just check that out. These dum-dums on this new software that we use here, you can put your name in there in the software, so people know who's under what spot. My name is Rob, so I have Rob. Cale has made himself Pistol Pete Burrow with spelling it like an LSU fan, and the comrade is calling himself Comrade de Burrow. What a bunch of nut riders you two are. You guys are terrible.
Going with the flow.
I just spelled my name differently now. We've changed things up a little bit. I'm trying to be, more accepted.
Well, I mean, it's basketball season, and he's my favorite old basketball player. So
people still don't accept me as being.
What's wrong with that? Some people, it's Michael Jordan.
Listen, I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be more. Yeah, I'm trying to be more accepted down south. People don't like the fact I'm a Yankee still.
I've
been down here for over 20 years now. I'm trying to fit in more, and trying to be a little more with our southern base a little bit. So I'm trying to do that to grow the show.
What kind of asshole are you that it's taken you 20 years to assimilate?
I have assimilated. I've lived here more now than I have up north. My wife.
You married a fine southern lady.
I did, and that's what originally drew me down south to begin with. When I first came down here for a visit for college, one of the things that, I love the school, don't get me wrong. I love the campus and all that stuff, but I'm not going to lie to you. The Carolina Classic, who showed me around, I mean, she had a lot to do with me going, I kind of like this place.
Yep. They probably gave you a Carolina Classic that was a guy.
I don't think.
I thought the Carolina Classic was that burger I ate from Wendy's last Saturday.
That could be.
What Comrade had, some guy with some chili.
Mine had fucking slaw on it.
Yeah, it does have slaw on it. Let's thank the patrons of our show: Lawton Swan of Clemson Sports Talk, the czar of Clemson Sports, Thomas Danny Young, Stacey Marie Hamp, Keith Harrelson, Jamie Phillips, Tabitha Sims, Robert Knight, Positive Mike, Lisa Sister Harkins, Jeff Pritchett, Christian Young, Nathan Medlin, and Sally Donegan. We appreciate all of them taking care of the show. You can become a patron as well. Go to robincomrade.com. We also have the Callaway's Bowl Pick'em Challenge. It's coming down to it, folks. There's only 2 people that can win the Callaway's Bowl Pick'em Challenge. Mike, tell us about that real quick.
All right, we have Tabitha Sims, a Gamecock, and if she wins, the second straight female who will win our football contest. So that's going to upset some of your Clemson fans who think it's 1945 still and think women should be in the kitchen and only making
women love
sandwiches.
This show.
I'm talking with the male Clemson fans. Trust me. So, and the other one's Mike Schindler. So what's going to happen is this: we have a game. I don't know if you guys realize this, a game tomorrow. Miami of Ohio, the Red Hawks, against the Raging Cajuns. The spread's 14.5. I'm not sure we need the bowl.
Yeah, your mic just dropped out again there, Mike. I don't know what you did there, but you got to fix that.
He's talking to himself currently.
He's talking to himself. You're the only one.
He muted himself.
Yeah, he muted himself. Nope, still can't hear you. I don't know what the hell you're doing over there, Mike. But mine and Cale stuff works. What'd you do, Mike?
I don't know.
All right. Well, anyway, Miami of Ohio are playing. Yeah, we hear you now. Well, unmute yourself because I can see you muted yourself.
Trying to fix that. Is that good?
Yeah, that's better. All right. So
Miami of Ohio is getting 14.5 points tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. And Tabitha has them to cover that spread. Mike Schindler, who is one back at Tabitha, has taken the Raging Cajuns. So if Miami of Ohio wins tomorrow, Tabitha Sims is the champion. We don't need the Clemson LSU game to be played. It shouldn't be played. It should go by our contest. If they don't cover tomorrow, then it goes down to the title game, and Schindler has Clemson Tigers. He's a tater. And Tabitha, who has a brain, like LSU. And so we'll go down to who win it. Not the point spread. There's no point spread in this, just the game. So tomorrow we could wrap it up, or we could go to the title game and see who wins that way. So Brandon Kuhn, I tell you what, Brandon Kuhn got a special exemption into this contest and clearly won it. He can't win it because of the same picks, but Brandon Kuhn picked the games based on he didn't know it was a point spread. He picked he was going to win each game, and he almost won. And that could be something that some of you may try doing next year in the week-long contest every week, is just pick the winners and don't work with the point spread and see how you do.
Through no fault of his own, he almost fucking won.
He almost did.
Fucking won.
He's only two back, but he can't.
It was really weird. It seemed like early on, a lot of the underdogs covered in the quote unquote meaningless bowls, I guess. And my performance fucking shits.
Yeah,
I've told people I've never done so piss poor in one group of ball games I picked in my life. Ever.
Our patrons are on fire tonight.
I hope I don't do this for a living, ever.
Yeah, I know, but our patrons are on fire tonight. Keith says, I would piss in his locker after eating an entire asparagus casserole. Holy crap, that's great. All right.
Sounds like you might do number 2 after eating the damn
asparagus casserole. Anyway, so congratulations to the two that are up top. Good folks. Brandon Kuhn did really well. I was proud of everybody that got into it. And of course, our next big event is the March Madness bracket. I have to admit, I suck in the March Madness bracket. I mean, I think the highest I've ever finished was like 15th. I'm just terrible. But we're going to have a champion by tomorrow night with Tabitha Sims. We'll see how that goes for.
Well, so far in our contest, 14 dogs have covered. Now, we had 2 games where there was a pick'em. So there's been, 39 games so far? Yep. Okay, and 2 had pick'ems, so they don't count. So out of 37 games, so 14 dogs have covered. The quick math there is the favorites are actually doing pretty well. So actually, Vegas probably isn't doing real well in the books because usually they do well when the dogs win. So if you took all the favorites to win, you'd have 23 points right now.
Be right in the mix.
And if you took the two pick'em games, got those right, you have 25. You would be winning. So it's been a little different contest because usually the dogs do better than this than they have. They did well early on, but they actually haven't done that great overall.
And by the way, this contest is sponsored by Callaway's Bar and Grill out in West Columbia. We're going to do it's just going to be a Rob portion of the show. We're doing a watch party for the national championship game. That will be obviously next Monday. I'm going to do a full setup on how Clemson got there, maybe teach you something on about LSU. So we'll have a little bit about that as well. So that'll start at 6:30 on Championship Day, a week from tomorrow at Callaway's. Then we'll all get together and watch the game afterwards. Enjoy some of the fine food and whiskey and beer and all that good stuff as we watch the national championship game.
None of those games ticked me off worse than the Gator Bowl, which I fell asleep at right after halftime, in which Indiana's quarterback, I believe his name is Peyton Ramsey, he ran the ball in, and they took a 10-6 lead and had all the momentum. I said, they got this. And I fell asleep on the couch. I woke up at midnight, and so I refreshed and updated my phone, and I saw that those damn butt chuggers had come back and won by 1 point. I was ready to spit nails.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to know how they won it. Didn't even want to know how they won it. Wasn't even concerned about it. It's just the fact that they won.
Yeah. Well, anyway, getting back into but make sure you go to Callaway's, by the way. That's very important. You've also have got DNC Trucking and Transport, the No Spin Zone segment with the Comrade. Comrade, I think you have your script. It's time, my friend, to read away.
It starts to be a Gamecock. Clemson has won 6 straight against my piss-poor team. I think Will Muschamp is a great coach. I do. It's nice to see that Houston dumped that loser Clowney. They know the real franchise player is Deshaun Watson. Clowney has work ethic issues. Seattle has 28 sacks this season with the failure from the ghetto. They had 43 last year. Bobo is bringing in some offensive stuff transfers. A fullback and a quarterback from a crappy Colorado State team. It sucks to be a Gamecock. Go Tigers. Clowney dominated today. Won the game. Facts. Won the game for him today.
Facts. Yep. But
you know what, though?
Houston's been better since he left.
Clowney
you know what, though? You know what, though? In the past 2 years, Colorado State has as many wins over SEC West teams as the Gamecocks do. We're tied with them. So they can't be that crappy.
I love the fullback. We're going back to fullback. Fullback you. I love it.
Cale's making me wear out my the more you know sound effect. Dina says, thank you, Dennis. And, of course, Dennis Wilson sponsors that. We appreciate him.
Hey, Glenn Powell asked a question. Who has done the best of you three in the Pick'em Challenge? Anyone answer that question?
I think, aren't you leading there, Mike? You're at 20?
I'm at 20.
18. Cale, are we even listing
Cale's
Cale?
got 15, yeah. But in fairness, though, of the three of us, I did worse in the season-long one by a long shot. I think Cale did really – I forgot where Cale finished up. I think – did Cale beat you in the season-long one?
No, I was like
I finished second
for 5th or something.
Okay, Cale and Rob were in contention for the season-long one. I was never in contention. I think after week
I was
1,
down there with Carlos Holder.
Well, actually, in week 0, I was in the lead. I was up 2-zip and other people. After week 0, I got the first 2 right, and after that, it was a train wreck. So I won of the 3 of us in the bowl challenge, and they won in the regular season challenge. But neither of us won the contest.
All right. Well, our main topic tonight is the all-decade team. Okay, and I put together an all-decade team for both Clemson and South Carolina. I had some help with mine.
DK Metcalf plays offense, stupid.
All right. We'll comment about that.
The Eagles lost their quarterback today. Why? Clowney hit him. Who got the sack to end the game?
Clowney. It was a dirty play. It was a dirty play.
A dirty play. It's called football. It's called football.
A dirty play.
Take the skirt off. It's football.
All right. I'm not going to get into this with you tonight. I'm not going to do it. You're just silly. Here is the all Gamecock team and I tell you what, we'll go position by position first. I had several folks help me with the Clemson team. I had several folks help me picking the Gamecock team. If you think somebody else should have been in the spot, then oh well. I think that you guys have seen these all-decade teams. I didn't short either school. I mean, it's pretty much on point, don't you think, guys? With who I picked,
I would have had Taj Boyd in there, quarterback for you guys. That's just me.
Okay, well, you're a fucking idiot, and I'm going to.
I think Taj Boyd for Clemson quarterback all the time. I love Taj Boyd.
That's not right. All right. Anyway,
I wish that 10 more years.
So what we're going to do is we're going to pick position by position, okay, and then we'll figure out between the three of us if we agree on who would dominate at that position, okay, and then if we should be able to come to a conclusion between the three of us, and we're going to give the folks that are watching on Facebook Live a vote too. So just chime in with who do you think is better when I give you the positions, and then we'll go from there. We'll start at quarterback. For me, Connor Shaw is the best quarterback in South Carolina history. It's not even close. The fact that you have to call Todd Ellis a quarterback at South Carolina is an insult to Connor Shaw.
Leave Todd alone.
An absolute dipshit.
Leave him alone.
But Connor Shaw is the best quarterback in South Carolina history. The matchup, though, is against Deshaun Watson, who is the best quarterback in Clemson history. I'm going with Watson to take the win there in that set. Would you both agree or not?
Go ahead, Cale. You go first.
I'd have to. I probably would have to give the nod to Watson there, just simply based on the leading the team down the field on that final drive of his career to a national championship. I mean, you can't get much better than that.
All right. So,
although Shaw made some huge clutch. The one that goes down that I remember the most, I think, probably a lot of Gamecock fans, is the 2013 game at Missouri.
Yep.
When they were ranked they were ranked inside the top 5, and we were down 17-0.
Yeah.
He came in, had the flu, I think. Came back, tied the game up, sent double overtime, and he threw that touchdown pass to Bruce Ellington on what's like 4th and goal from the 15 or so. Just amazing catch, amazing throw, just amazing heart that guy had.
I got nothing but love for Connor Shaw, but Deshaun Watson is great. Rodney online says give respect to Homer Jordan.
No, we will not respect Homer Jordan.
He didn't play in this decade.
I would not respect Homer Jordan.
Well, that is right. We're talking about this decade's players.
If Homer Jordan was a quarterback for Clemson the past 6 years, we would not lose to them.
Mike, you got Watson or Shaw, Mike?
It's a coin flip for me. A coin flip. I'm gonna say Watson.
I'm gonna mute
I pick Watson. I flip the coin. You can't do it. No, I'll tell you right now. Okay, and listen. I've actually defended Deshaun Watson on Twitter. People that have screen grabbed it. I thought it was being anonymous and posting the rooms. Okay, but Watson's unreal. Okay, and Connor Shaw I love too, but Watson's unreal. Just the fact that we talked about this before, how NFL GMs and what morons they are when it comes to quarterbacks. The fact that, he was not even the first quarterback drafted. You see the Bears and the Browns both right now, struggling. It's a joke. So he's unreal in college. He's even better than the pros. I think he's going to be a better NFL quarterback was a college quarterback. Yes, it's not as much as I hate to say it, it's not real close. Even though Connor Shaw was great and, best quarterback in Gamecock history. I do think Connor Shaw could have had an NFL career. I think he had some bad luck with injuries, broke his wrist and his hand, and just kind of one of those things. I think he could have been a productive pro in the NFL, never be a star like Watson will be or is. But, take Watson there.
All right, then up next, so we give that point to Clemson there. Then we go to the running backs. Running back for South Carolina is Marcus Lattimore. For Clemson, it's Travis Etienne. Cale, we'll let you lead off here, man. Who you going with first?
Well, I don't think that you ever got to see the whole body of work with Marcus Lattimore. Obviously, I mean, he only really played 2 seasons. If you add all that stuff up together, just the injuries in 2011, 2012 just derailed half of each season for him. But with ETN, I don't think we saw totally what all he's capable of either, because he spent 2017. I don't think he's got as many touches, especially the first half of the season, as maybe he would have.
Right.
And this year, I think his stats this year are unreal. And I don't think we really got to see what he was capable of doing here, just simply because they yanked him out of the game so early, because they were dominating so many of them in the third and fourth quarter that there was no reason to leave him in there. So I got to give it to him. I mean, I love Marcus Lattimore. I love the story. I love what he brings to the game and all he did for South Carolina. But ETN is he's just the fastest fucking man on the planet. I've already told you that after that fucking game,
he got
national championship game. So
0
I
to
don't
100 in 0 to 100 like that. I mean, he really is fast.
I really don't think that was not even close.
All right, Mike, who you got?
Why don't you go next?
All right. Well, this is just me, and I'm going to catch a lot of shit from Clemson fans. But as far as an overall player, I am going to go with Marcus Lattimore, and I'll tell you why. Marcus Lattimore did not have a lot of great players around him, and I'm not saying that Travis Etienne is bad. Don't run around saying Rob thinks Etienne sucks. I think that Steve Spurrier ran Marcus Lattimore pretty much crazy numbers. I mean, they don't even do stuff like that anymore. I think Travis Etienne has had the better career, but as far as overall on the field and what he did off the field and the person that he is, I'm going to give my vote to Marcus Lattimore. Comrade, which way are you going?
Okay, well, there's 2 ways of going. Who had a better college career? Well, Etienne had a better college career by far. I mean, it's not close. I mean, because now part of that is because of Lattimore's injuries. Okay.
Well, let me
in terms of if
quick here. Etienne, as of right now, 3,960 yards, 55 touchdowns. Lattimore, 2,677 yards, 38 touchdowns. I think he's still the Gamecocks' all-time leader in rushing touchdowns.
But by the way, Glenn Powell's bringing out C.J. Spiller. C.J. Spiller not playing this decade.
His last year was 2009.
No, yeah, we're talking about this decade. 10.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, make sure if you're coming in late, it's an all-decade team. So from 2010 to 2019.
So
make sure you stay.
So here's the thing, though. So the better career is Etienne's college career by far. Okay. Now, if you're going to tell me, to choose a back, okay, for 1 year at their complete health, I mean, I'm taking Lattimore. And for what you mentioned before, first of all, here's the thing: when he came here, you know me about recruiting. I don't really follow recruiting. I don't sit there. I was excited he was coming here. I heard the hype, but I was still like, well, I've seen other guys come through the hype, and I see him in the field, and they were horrible. I remember watching him his freshman year and just going, wow. I mean, he changed. Not only did he change the team on the field, the whole culture changed when he got there. That 2009 team, I couldn't stand that 2009 team. And the 2010 team, it seemed like it was a whole different kind of way they played. And our offense was horrible. I mean, we couldn't pass the ball. And Spurrier even said in the Florida game, listen, we can't throw it anymore. Just give it to Lattimore. And he just carried the team. And so
he had 4 carries.
What's that?
So you won the East. He had 4 carries.
Yeah.
And he if you look at the bowl game that year where Steven Garcia went out and got drunk off his ass the night before, he got leveled in the Florida State game, and then y'all went to shit. I mean, he was your entire offense.
So, and not that Etienne's a great back, but and his numbers are unreal, but a lot of that too is that Clemson's offense is so dominant, you have to pick your poison, and he benefits from that. Nothing against him, but I'm just saying in terms of, so the better career Etienne, obviously, but in terms of just who's the better running back in the prime, healthy, you put them both in the field, who you taking? I'm going to take Lattimore for complete back. He can catch the ball. He blocks. He's a great, unselfish whole thing. He kind of reminds me of that Emmitt Smith mold. And I always watched him play his freshman year.
I don't think people appreciate him as so much as a blocker too. He was a hell of a blocker.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, but he had that way that in terms of that he always could get a couple extra yards if you got hit. He'd always fall forward. It's a shame what happened to him on a fluke play, blocking downfield. The classic example. Down there blocking downfield, and he gets hit from behind, and that started the first knee injury, which I think starts the downward spiral of his career.
I want
a fluke thing. So
I want to respond to Glenn's question on Facebook, and he says off field shouldn't matter in this discussion, Rob. Yes, it does.
Well, it's not. It's
100% does, and I tell you why. If you're a Clemson fan, you listen to what Coach Sweeney says, it's all about that. Don't come at me with that, Glenn. That's bullshit, dude. I'm sorry, man. It means a lot with being off the field. And that wasn't the thing that tipped it. On the field, when he was there, he was better.
He changed.
Marcus Lattimore is better than a healthy Travis Etienne. And I know that pisses Clemson fans off, but if you look at him, that's just the way that it was. He was a power back that could block, and he took a beating because the rest of the Gamecock offense around him sucked ass, and he was the entire offense, and that's kind of why I went with Lattimore. Let's move on, gentlemen. I don't want to get all the Clemson people pissed at me. But
well, if you look at you say he was the entire offense, and Steve Spurrier ran him into the ground. Well, Etienne's had, you would say, better depth around him at that position at Clemson.
True.
But when Lattimore went out, both those seasons, I might be wrong here, but I don't remember that we lost a game again. Either one of those two seasons, beat Clemson twice, won 2 bowl games without him. So you gotta wonder. You gotta wonder.
Right. Well, and that's just it's just my pick. I mean, to be honest with you, it's just the way that I feel, and maybe as they say, Cale, that
maybe he did run him into the ground, and you saw without him, we were still able to win ball games. So,
all right, well, let's move along here. Let's go to wide receivers for South Carolina. I've got 4 listed here: Alshon Jeffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brian Edwards, and Bruce Ellington. For Clemson, I've got Sammy Watkins, DeAndre Hopkins, and Hunter Renfrow. I'll go first. In my opinion, it's not even close. Clemson dominates. It's just not even remotely close. I know that people are like, why'd you put Hunter Renfrow on the list? Well, who the hell do you take off? That makes no sense. I'll go with those 3. I put Brian Edwards up on this list because he is South Carolina's all-time leading receiver, but I'm going to go with those 3 over the Gamecock setup there.
I'm going to look at this here. I think Alshon Jeffrey is the best receiver of the whole crew, but I think Clemson's got more depth. I think Watkins and Hopkins are probably 2-3 overall. Okay, and I think Renfrow is better than Bruce Ellington. So overall, I'm taking Clemson, but I think Alshon Jeffrey's the best of the group. And well, Deebo can. Let's see. I think where Clemson wins it is your 3 and 4 guys are much better than our 3 and 4 guys. I think our 1-2 and your 1-2, Alshon and Deebo, I think are pretty favorable to Watkins and Hopkins. So,
well, that's fine. But Hunter Renfro's the key here. He takes it over the top.
Yeah, so I think Renfro tips the scales, but I would take.
I could have went with the fourth guy there and went with Mike Williams at 4, but for some reason, and this is telling. If I can't remember you, and I take those 3, then that says a little bit about you. Trey says, don't forget about Pharaoh Cooper.
Yeah. I put Pharaoh Cooper ahead of Ellington probably.
Yeah. Well, but either way, I mean, with that set, I mean, either way, I still give Clemson the nod because I like Watkins and Hopkins and then Renfro, who I think is the best route runner out of all of them. Period.
I don't think it's a slam dunk the way you say it, though, but I would take Alshon and Debo over Hopkins and Watkins.
Okay, but
that too.
Going is it going with Clemson or with South Carolina, Mike?
I'll go with Clemson for the complete package, but in terms of top 2, I'm going with Carolina. I know you can't, but I'm saying over. That's all.
Cale, where are you going?
I guess I'm going to go with Clemson on that. Brian Edwards had too many drops. He's the all-time leading receiver at South Carolina. Imagine what he could have had if he hadn't had all his drops.
Mm-hmm.
And Jake Bentley took a lot of shit because of his drops. People kind of piled on Jake Bentley. They want to take into account all the drops he had. Bruce Ellington made some nice catches for South Carolina in his time,
mm-hmm.
and I guarantee you, none of those son bitches could shoot a 3-pointer like he could.
That's true.
That is my main reason why I put Bruce Ellington in
2 sports.
He played 2 sports.
Remember in 2012 we was talking about how we went up there and beat y'all with a backup quarterback and the point guard from the basketball team.
That's right.
But Debo, I like Debo. I like him on special teams too.
Yeah.
In 2018. Most everybody was too bitch made to kick the ball to him.
Oh yeah. The star he had that season, he was before he got hurt. He was on pace to be in New York City. Looking at the Heisman Trophy, not saying he was going to win it, but he was on pace to be there with what he was doing early in the year. And then he got hurt in the Kentucky game, and everything went to crap. But he was unreal to start that season with kickoffs and punts. He was unreal.
All right. Sorry, go ahead.
Nothing. Go ahead.
Okay. Tight end, we're moving along here. For the Gamecocks, the all-decade tight end, in my opinion, is Hayden Hurst. I did like Jared Cook a little bit, but I couldn't remember. I think he played in 2010, 2011, if I remember.
He did. I think of that big fumble he had.
I think Hurst is the better one there. And
I do.
Hurst.
Plus, Boom developed him too. He's a Muschamp. He's a guy that Muschamp developed.
Lying.
He's got Muschamp's stamp all over him. We watched him play. And integrity, heart.
The other guy is Jordan Leggett. Now, when you look at the numbers up against this, go ahead, Cale. I'll let you go first as I pull up the numbers. I looked at these earlier, but who you got, Cale?
I would take Hurst over Jordan Leggett. Jordan Leggett always took a lot of flack, and living up here in the upstate, I hear a lot of Clemson chatter, and that's what it is, chatter. But there was the knock on him was his unwillingness to get involved in the blocking game, especially the run game.
Right.
They gave him a lot of shit.
Right. It's hard for me to defend Leggett, especially when you look at the numbers are actually close. Hurst only played 3 seasons, but had 1,281 yards compared to 4 seasons for Leggett, where he had right at 1,600 yards. But Hurst, on the other hand, he was the guy that you had to know where he was because he made play after play after play. And I just honestly think Hurst is better. So I'm going to take Hurst.
And plus Cook was last decade too. I confirmed that he was last decade.
Okay. Well, thank you. I didn't, but that's the last real Gamecock tight end I could think of, but,
Jarrell Adams.
Jarrell. Yeah. But he's not.
Justice Cunningham. Mr. What was he? Mr. Insignificant in the NFL draft.
That's
Yeah,
true.
he was a dude in the hotel.
Brandon says
hotel.
Dwayne Allen. I mean that's pretty good, but I think that I still think Hurst is the best. Comrade, you agree that Hurst is the best?
I'll take Hurst. I told you before, he's a product of Muschamp, so you have to kind of give him the nod there.
I'm not.
Muschamp's a great developer of talent.
Muschamp is a shithole.
I'd have took Dwayne Allen over damn Leggett.
Yeah, that's fair. I just think total numbers is why I went with, and I got to look up everything, but Leggett was the one I picked for the all-decade team. So there you go with that, just to be consistent. Up next, we're going to go offensive line. And for South Carolina, I've got A.J. Cann, Corey Robinson, T.J. Johnson, Brandon Shell, and Zach Bailey. For Clemson, I've got Mitch Hyatt, Brandon Thomas, Tyrone Crowder, Eric McLean, and Dalton Freeman. For me, this was the thing that pushed me over the edge, and I went with Clemson with this one, is because I was a big guy with Mitch Hyatt. Mitch Hyatt came in as a freshman and squared off with Alabama and did not look like a punk bitch. He was really good. So because of Mitch Hyatt, I'm going with Clemson's offensive line. Cale, who you got?
That's tough. That's tough. I mean,
it's close.
And you listed some good ones there for South Carolina,
right?
I'm gonna have to give the edge to the Gamecocks on this one. You know, Clemson's that offensive line that you listed there, they're stout. They're stout, no doubt about it. But they had a little bit better, in my opinion, skill position guys playing around them. So
I don't think that has anything to do with them blocking, but
a little bit easier to make plays and look good.
I hate to do this, but if I'm being honest, the Gamecock offensive line this decade, I don't think they achieved kind of up to what their potential was. A lot of these guys, I mean, they were good, but I'll have to give the nod to Clemson on this one.
We will not have a Fritz. There will be no Fritzes here.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna get a nod to Clemson on this one. For that reason there too, but I mean, there's some good guys in there too. But I'll give them that. If I'm being unbiased,
T.J. Johnson was really, really good.
Yeah, he was.
He was really good. All right,
interesting story there about that Brandon Thomas. I worked with his mama back in 90, 98, 99 when I was co-manager at Winn-Dixie in Spartanburg. Her name was Miss Vaughn. She ran the seafood department. And I remember her bringing him in there. He's probably about 6 or 7 years old then. She was a sweet lady. She died a few years ago from cancer. And so that's an interesting little nugget there. He played for Dorman High over there in Spartanburg.
Cancer sucks. All right, let's move to the defense now. Let's go with safety first. For the Gamecocks, I've got DJ Swearinger and Antonio Allen. Rashad Fenton almost made the list because I think he's underappreciated. He's playing starting for the Kansas City Chiefs now, but
blows.
Swearinger, he does not blow. You don't like him because much coming out the drop.
I don't like him. No, it's not like that. I don't like him. I think he's overrated. I'm glad he's NFL, whatever. Overrated.
He's in the NFL and he's playing, so it sucks to be you. For Clemson, it's DeAndre McDaniel and Tanner Muse are the list that I've got here. And Clemson hasn't had the safety play that's kind of one of the weak areas of the Clemson secondary. So I'm going to give the nod to the Gamecocks.
Yeah.
The Swearinger is a good player and in honor of Rashad Fenton because I'm not like his coach and hang his ass out to dry in a press conference. So
Swearinger can't. I mean, Fenton can't board the jack of Antonio Allen and DJ Swearinger. I'm sorry.
Well, I think Fenton is better than the two Clemson safeties that are listed here.
Well, I mean, it's not. I don't think it's close. This is one of the areas where the Gamecocks dominate here. DJ Swearinger, I mean, talk about it. If the one guy, we miss a lot of people. Okay, but in terms of just kind of the defensive attitude, I mean, we miss that type of guy.
This is where you're going to be dumb. What you miss is a guy like.
We miss Clowney too. But I mean, in terms of just how he went about things, I mean, listen, he just. I wish we could clone DJ Swearinger and just and put 11 on the field. It'd be great. But and Tony Allen was underrated, I believe. I think he's very underrated. He's a guy. I'm glad he's on here because I think a lot of Gamecock fans kind of leave him out when they talk about our great defenses and don't talk about him. And I think he's one of the key pieces to those defenses too. So I'm glad he's on there. So yeah, the definite one for the Gamecocks here. The point
goes to the Gamecocks. Cale, who would you pick though?
Yeah, DJ Swearinger definitely a game changer, and any list that Tanner Muse is on, we're winning that one. So
you got Muse and you got
we missed that. We missed that. We don't have any players on that team. I think we've seen R.J. Roderick kind of develop it a little bit with that swagger. I won't never forget back in, I think it was about 2012. We played Arkansas and at home, and he gets a stupid unsportsmanlike penalty on a play, and then pass interference penalty. Excuse me, pissed him off. So the next play, he takes the damn ball and intercepts it and runs about 60 yards for a damn touchdown and threw the son of a bitch in the damn stands. You remember that?
Yeah, I do. Brandon online says Jerron Curse. Yeah, well, my thing with Curse though is that he was undisciplined and he quit in the Alabama game. The first national championship game with Alabama, he quit. If you quit, I got nothing for you. That's why you didn't make the list. So either way, I don't think he is nearly as good as Swearinger was.
Didn't McDaniel quit too? Oh, no, he was suspended. I'm sorry.
Shut your hole.
Who?
Shut your hole.
McDaniel.
Oh, yeah.
McDaniel. He was suspended for.
I'm trying to be unbiased with this, but
I just try to. I'm trying to just
shut
refresh
up.
my memory. That's all.
Yeah, all right. Let's go with cornerbacks for South Carolina. I've got Stephon Gilmore and Vic Hamilton. For Clemson, I've got Trayvon Mullen.
He was on a $10 bill, wasn't
he? Yeah. For Clemson, I've got Trayvon Mullen and Mackenzie Alexander. Gilmore really swings it for me towards South Carolina, but I think people forget how good Mackenzie Alexander was. I mean, he would shut some fools down quick, but he is not. He's not Stephon Gilmore. The only thing Stephon Gilmore's done in his life is stupid. Is go to South Carolina. He should have went to Clemson, but he will get my vote. And I'm sure you guys are it's gonna be a runaway freight train because y'all love you some Lattimore.
Yeah, I don't think this is another area too. I know Clemson fans get mad because they can't believe we're even discussing these two teams. But once again, this shows you the talent the Gamecocks have had this decade. Unfortunately, was the earlier part of the decade and not the recent part of the decade. But yeah, the cornerback here, I'm taking the Gamecocks here. Gilmore. I mean, Vic Hampton's really good too. I mean, I think Hampton gets a little bit.
People realize how good he was.
He was really good too. I mean, but Gilmore just stands out because of how great he was in college. And listen, Gilmore was the guy that kind of got things started on the run we had. He was the first kind of recruit, and a lot of people think because he went here is why Lattimore came here, and then Clowney came here because Lattimore came here. So I don't know how true this is, but people say if Gilmore does not come to Carolina, maybe we don't get Lattimore, then maybe we don't get Clowney, and maybe we're whatever. So I think in terms of that too, and of course for Gamecock fans, remember he stepped in and played quarterback in 2009 for a little bit. That's how better offense was going, and he had a big completion to Alshon Jeffrey, which is pretty cool to see them square off in NFL games now. That Gilmore hit Alshon Jeffrey on a big gain against Clemson, which kind of turned the table there and got our streak going against you fools. But yeah, Gilmore, take the cornerbacks for the Gamecocks in this one.
What do you think, Cale?
Yeah, I'm taking the cornerbacks to the Gamecocks as well. Tyrone Quarles makes somewhat of a point there. He says that Gilmore wasn't that good in college. I mean, he has blossomed. He has blossomed with the Patriots.
I think that,
no doubt about it. I don't think anybody would think that he would have developed into arguably the best cornerback in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So we gotta think about that. Mackenzie Alexander was really good too, but I'm taking the Gamecocks on that one. Vic Hampton was a good player too. Hell, a little off the field stuff with him too, but.
Well, yeah. But I think the thing with Gilmore though is that he was never a problem off the field, and they literally would not do anything on his side of the field. And if you look at his stats while he was in college, he had 8 interceptions over 3 seasons. And of course, he played some quarterback too. He also had one of those returned for a touchdown. His final season, he picked off 4 balls as a junior, and that's with them not throwing to his side of the field. So anytime the ball was thrown to his side of the field, he made a hell of a lot of plays. And I know that people are like, well, Rob, you're supposed to be the Clemson guy on the show. I'm trying to be objective. I mean, he is a great, great player. Linebackers for this decade: Isaiah Simmons for Clemson, Ben Boulware, and Dorian O'Daniel. That's who I've got there. For South Carolina, Sky Moore, T.J. Brunson, and Devontae Holloman. For me, this isn't close. Clemson wins simply on the back of Isaiah Simmons, because that guy is like a matrix. He is a freak. And Dorian O'Daniel was really, really good as well. So yeah. I'll take Clemson with a win there.
I agree. This has been a really good decade for linebackers at Carolina. Brunson, I mean, he plays hard. Sky Moore was really good. Holland's pretty good. But the one strength Clemson's had in this run here has been defensive line and linebacker, with the exception of Ben Boulware, who I don't think he could cover me. But if you throw him out of there, that linebacking core is really impressive and athletic and freakish. And that's where I think Clemson kind of pushes ahead of Carolina in this decade is part of its linebacker core.
Cale, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think that's close. I think that Isaiah Simmons he's a freak, and instead of Boulware on there, I think he's a lot of heart and guts too, but not as much ability there. If you wanted to put a slow white dude in there, I would have went with Spencer the Bull Shark Shuey. Just my personal.
Stephon Anthony, and I don't know, but did he play in the 2010s? I can't remember, but I mean, he played for the Saints and everything else. I mean, I would have went
on the South Carolina. I would have went with Shaq Wilson instead of T.J. Brunson. I mean, even you talked about his sucky play as early as last year.
Yeah, well, my whole thing with Brunson was that I don't think he's been put into a position to make plays, and I've had assistant coaches tell me that on my show. So
I feel like he got better this year.
Well, we'll see how that goes for them. As he graduated, he's out, right?
Yeah, he was their first recruit. He was Boone's first recruit coming in.
Yeah, well, he's gone now. All right. So then we go from there. Special teams, punter Bradley Pinion for Clemson. For the Gamecocks, Joseph Charlton. Pinion was really good for. I mean, this is almost like a real toss up there, but I'm gonna go with Pinion.
I mean, Charlton.
You can't go wrong with either punter. I mean, they're both really good.
I thought Charlton was a little inconsistent this year, but I don't know. I can pick out Bradley Pinion if he came to my house right now and robbed me, which he might.
He might.
Because
it's very possible.
Which way are you gonna go?
Hands down, you got to go with Joe Charlton on that. He has like a 46-yard average this year. Also, did you know that he tied for the fucking 9th most punts in the country? Why? It's because he played on such a shitty fucking offense.
That's
Seriously, the
true.
Clemson punter this year, Spires?
Yeah.
He's like number 100 as far as punting attempts.
He doesn't have to punt much.
Jordan. I mean, Charlton's up there in the single digits.
The reason I have Bradley Pinion was because Pinion in his junior year, he left to go into the pros and was one of the first punters drafted. He also averaged 43 yards a punt his junior year, and he kicked a little bit there too with extra points and was 100%. But yeah, I'm going with Pinion, and then we'll go to the kicker. Greg Heigl is who I've got as far as kickers go for Clemson. For South Carolina, I've got Fry. So which way are you going to go, Cale? You go first.
I think his name is Greg Hugel.
Yep.
Yeah, and I that's hands down. I'm going with Fry guy. Simply nailed, more big time kicks, and that's another one that I think got a lot more opportunities to kick field goals because Clemson's out here scoring touchdowns. That's call it what it is. He was put in some more pressure situations. I feel like with the games riding on his shoulders. A huge kick there in Muschamp's first game at Vanderbilt, game winner with like 50-something seconds to go, 56 yards out. He was also at a physical disadvantage too. I mean, the guy was like 5'4". I mean, he was like a midget wrestler.
He's listed 6 flat.
He was tiny.
He made David Butts look tall.
That's funny, but he's listed at 6 flat. Is what his stuff says.
Okay,
here.
Well, I'm Ray Charles.
Through his career, he
was really small.
He hit 99% of his extra points, 161 for 162. Let's see here. Field goals, he was 66 for 88 at 75%. Compared to Heigl hit 95% of his extra points and 76% of his field goals. He kicked 54 compared to 66. I think that Fry was the better and more accurate kicker, so I'm going to go with Fry there. All right, and then we have 2 more things left here, and this is we're going to have discussion because defensive end and defensive line, and then we'll have coaching. But on the defensive end for South Carolina, you've got Clowney and Melvin Ingram. For Clemson, you've got let's see here, Farrell and Beasley. Both, of course, playing. All 4 of them are playing in the NFL.
That close.
I know you guys you have like this love affair, which is Davion Clowney. I think he's an absolute physical freak. But I'm with Coach Spurrier. I go with the guy who won the Heisman Trophy. He's lazy and has work ethic issues.
Never said that.
Your coach.
Never said he was lazy.
Coach said, I didn't say it. Steve Spurrier did.
He never said lazy. He didn't say lazy.
He said he had work ethic issues. That's what he said.
Spurrier. Yeah.
He also Spurrier's worthless now. All right, think about that.
I'm just saying that
we're doing coaches.
You're quoting a guy.
I want to hear you talking about Spurrier's great.
You're quoting a guy who ended up quitting. You're quoting a guy who ended up quitting.
This coach at South Carolina. All-time winningest coach.
Jadavion Clowney is the all-time greatest defensive player coming to South Carolina.
I think Melvin Ingram's better.
I think Clowney was better. So, I mean,
Ingram's better.
Same thing. I don't think it's close. I think defensive tackle, Clemson wins it that close.
Well, we're going with that in a moment, but we're doing defensive ends right now.
I think the ends, it goes to the Gamecocks. Clowney, unblockable. You watch him now in the pros, he's unblockable. He's playing out there with a core issue. He needs a surgeon of the year, and they're still double teaming him.
Always hurt. I don't want to hear that shit. He's always hurt. Every year he's hurt. Every year.
And he's playing hurt. And so he missed 1 game in all of college too. 1 game in his college career.
So let's see here. The stats show that Clowney in college had 24 sacks over 3 years. Ingram had 21 sacks over 4 years. I think Clowney has work ethic issues, like his coach said. So, but I'm going to give the Gamecocks the edge because of Melvin Ingram, not because of Jadeveon Clowney. Clowney is not as good as everybody thinks he is. So there you go with that. Cale, are you picking the Gamecocks or Clemson here?
I'm picking the Gamecocks.
All right, so we'll give the Gamecocks the edge there at defensive end. Then we move on to the defensive tackles. Defensive tackles on the list, we have for South Carolina, Javon Kinlaw, and let's see here, and Travian Robertson. And then for Clemson, you've got Christian Wilkins and Grady Jarrett. Not even remotely close.
No, this is not close.
Not close at all. I'm going with Clemson there with the defensive tackles. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, this is not close. This is another one of the big gap. I think linebackers and defensive tackle is where Clemson has a huge edge this decade over Carolina in those two areas. This isn't close. Not even. This is one. If I was a Tater, I'd be offended. We were discussing like they could be offended by this part. Like, how dare you? But everything else, yeah.
Cale, what do you got, brother?
Yeah, I'd have to go with Clemson. I had even forgotten Travian Robertson was on the fucking team. And I personally would have went with Kelsey Quarles over him, but this is me.
Yep. All right. And then the final thing we've got here is coaching staffs. I have Steve Spurrier, obviously, as the best coach at South Carolina because Will Muschamp is a failure. I'm waiting on the Comrade to say that Muschamp is better than Spurrier so I can laugh my ass off. Against Dabo Swinney. And once again, this is not even remotely close. 2 national titles in a decade. It's not even remotely close. And I don't want you defending Spurrier either, Comrade, because you just said that what he said about Tony was not good. So I expect you to.
I'm saying that you're. Listen, I don't think it's Spurrier because of the fact that I don't think he's the best judge of work ethic. Spurrier wasn't known for work ethic as a coach.
Won a Heisman Trophy and
Clowney's the number 1 draft pick.
Right?
And Clowney's the number 1 draft pick.
What does he know about all that?
Okay, what does Clowney know?
Clowney was the number 1 draft pick, and let's be honest, Houston let him go because the franchise player that they
traded him. They let him go. They traded him.
John Watson.
They traded him because
they let him
Clowney wanted the bigger deal.
They would have kept him.
He wanted the bigger deal. So it happens.
He's not worth the money. That's the way it works.
No, he wanted an extension, more years, and they're not sure how healthy he's going to be because he's playing on the microfracture knee surgery, which doesn't last that long. So I don't blame him for not sending him there.
He's hurt all the time.
Get microfracture knee surgery. The fact he's still playing.
So which coach are you going to go with? I know that you're lined up to blow Jadeveon Clowney, but which coach are you going with? Are you going with Spurrier or are you going with Swinney?
I go with head-to-head, and Spurrier beat him head-to-head. So
okay, that's dumb. Cale, which way are you going?
What's that dumb?
National titles are what's important, but go ahead.
Okay. The dad won a national title when Spurrier was coaching.
Stab my eyeballs out for doing this, but I'll have to go with the program manager. I have to go with the program builder.
The program builder in Swinney. Okay, so we went position by position, and here's how it came out. Clemson wins, according to us, at quarterback, wide receiver, offensive line, linebacker, punter, defensive tackle, and coach. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For South Carolina, we go running back, tight end, safety, cornerback, kicker, and defensive end. That puts South Carolina at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there you go. So in the all-decade matchup, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this. It's a lot closer than people thought because people talk about, oh, well, Clemson wins this outright. South Carolina had some really, really good teams in the early part of the decade with some great, great players. And people need to respect that, including South Carolina fans, the ones that run their mouth and they're like, oh, well, Spurrier sucks. Look at all these great players that were brought in. The majority of them were brought in under the Spurrier watch. Of course, guys like Clowney and Gilmore and Shaw and guys like that were all under the Spurrier regime. Not under
everybody on that list was, except for Joseph Charlton and
Hayden Hurst.
Law.
And Hayden Hurst.
And yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That was kind of one of the reasons I wanted to bring that, because that shows you where the South Carolina program was and where it is now. And it's probably heading even further down now. I think that if you look at the South Carolina program, the last year before Clowney left, I would think that South Carolina would be considered the second best team in the SEC East. Compared to now, I think you're just ahead of Vanderbilt and tied with Missouri.
That's a joke. We'll see.
What do you think, Cale?
Hot dog water.
Hot dog water. Exactly.
Now,
Why can't you just be honest about it, Mike?
We're better. We're better than Vanderbilt. South Carolina's in a better position than Missouri to bounce back. I don't know about that coaching hire they made. I don't think that guy's proven to be a builder of anything yet. He went out there and won a bunch of games with somebody else's players. So jury's still out on that. Tennessee, I'm not sold on. Ran off a bunch of wins in a row against a bunch of crappy teams. Got totally dismembered by everybody with a pulse on their schedule. Kentucky. I mean, look head to head. South Carolina.
Who would you rather have as your coach? Would you rather have Stoops or Muschamp?
What's that?
Who would you rather have, Stoops or Muschamp, as your head coach?
I think that's not a smart question. I would take Stoops. He's done a lot more with a lot less. More innovative.
I'm going to go with Rob's eyebrows. Rob's eyebrows tell me to go with Muschamp.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if we went with the head-to-head, you lose. So, just throwing that out there.
Stoops is a hell of a crowd surfing. I sent him crowd surfing when they beat Missouri.
Can you imagine that? Yeah, that's funny. Anyway, going from that, a couple quick more things before we get out of here. The NFL playoffs. Was there anything this weekend that shocked you? Obviously, the Patriots losing.
This comment, Brandon Chelsea, Tennessee, Missouri, Vanderbilt, Kentucky are all in better shape than the Gamecocks. Based on fucking what? How is Vanderbilt in better shape than South Carolina? Enlighten us.
I can help. They have better SAT scores.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. Maybe that's what Brandon was thinking. I don't know.
Yeah, I doubt he thinks SAT scores. I doubt it. The Patriots lost. I tell you, that didn't shock me. That didn't shock me. And the best part of the game. And listen, I'm not a Patriot fan, but I'm not a Patriot hater. I'm kind of a rare person because a lot of people either love him or can't stand him. And so I'm a big Bill Belichick fan. Not that I root for him, but I love to read about him. I think he's fascinating. I love the specials on him, the documentaries on him. The best part of the game, though, was Mike Vrabel doing a Belichick against Bill Belichick with that clock and knowing the rules. And Belichick was pissed. And not that he was pissed. It was almost like he was mad that the rule was dumb. And that's what Belichick is so good at. Belichick knows the rules better than anybody. And what he does is he uses the rules to his advantage. And a lot of times what happens, he'll find like a way to use a rule. And in the offseason, the NFL will then change the rule. Not because they're bad at the Patriots, because they look, oh, yeah, that's probably – like he'll like figure out a way to abuse a rule that the NFL will just say, yeah, we got to change that up there. And so Vrabel was doing that, and that just shows you kind of like, Belichick, I think deep down was probably like, that's, that dude gets it, because most of the time Belichick has different things for how he lines up people, how he lines up ineligible receivers and eligible guys, and gets a guy wide open. The Ravens used to get mad at him doing that stuff. Like he finds these little tweaks in the rules he can kind of circumvent. And so that was pretty cool seeing Vrabel do that. The fact that Vrabel was there when Belichick won his first title with the Patriots from the beginning of the dynasty, and to have him, quote unquote, end it, which I don't think they ended it yet. It was pretty fascinating night to watch, but Brady did not look great. Of course, he's 42 years old. I mean, the people who are shocked by the fact that he's not playing that well anymore. I mean, he's 42 freaking years old. Okay. At some point, yeah, he's going to start looking kind of,
42.
Yeah. So the people are like, oh, the people that crack me, the people who are reveling in it. Yeah, suck that, Brady. Yeah, you suck now. Like, yeah, he's beating your ass for 20 years. I think he wins the debate with you there, pal. Anti-Patriot dude. I mean, so
I think the thing that was most I thought the Patriots were going to have issues with Tennessee because they are a grinded out type team, but both number 6 seeds advancing. That doesn't happen very often. Both number 3s went home today over the weekend, and was more shocked by Minnesota winning over New Orleans because Minnesota has Kirk Cousins, and he's pretty awful in my opinion. Yeah. And he went down there and basically outdueled Drew Brees and made Drew Brees look like he was 40-something years old. And
Brees did not look. Brees kind of looked old today too. He looked a little bit. My dad sent me a text this afternoon. The game went to final. He goes, "Who's more over the hill, Brees or Brady?" Was his text to me. So, and the interesting thing too is I think Bridgewater looked better this year on the Saints than Brees did. And the rumor I'm hearing now, this is like from people I know or I listen to in my Boston sports podcast, is that Brady is gone and Teddy Bridgewater will be the Patriots quarterback next year. Which would be an interesting kind of thing to think about. Belichick move with Bridgewater, but
should be interesting stuff there. I don't think that the matchups next week are interesting. With Seattle going to Green Bay, that'll be interesting there.
Yeah,
you've got. I like Houston going on the road at Kansas City. I think they've already won their one.
Mahomes and Watson. That's a pretty marquee matchup there.
Pretty good matchup there. And then San Francisco gets Minnesota. I thought Minnesota was going to get stomped today, and they didn't. Maybe they have a chance against San Francisco. I don't know. Well,
San Fran's really, really good.
Yeah.
I like their team a lot. So I think Seattle beats Green Bay. I think they go in there and beat. I know that's going to hurt your feelings, Rob, but I think the Seahawks are going to be in the
Green Bay's 13-3, but it's sort of like it's just very hollow 13-3. I think they're the worst 13-3 team in NFL history.
I've thought I've watched them play twice now.
Right.
The Seahawks, Niners are the two best teams in the NFC, and I think it'd be fitting if they play for a third time to see who goes to the Super Bowl. I just think they're the two best teams, and they play some great games, and I think they're pretty evenly matched. So I'm looking forward to. I think you're going to see a third matchup, a title game out in the Bay there to see who goes to the Super Bowl between the Seahawks and Niners. You're going to have Debo versus Clowney. But that's not why I'm saying that. I think they're really good teams. Russell Wilson. I love Jimmy Garoppolo. He can really play. And I think you're going to see that. And then, of course, the big question is does Lamar Jackson get it done in the AFC, or can Deshaun Watson keep on pulling out miracles, man? That play he made. My Bills, watching that game, two things in the Bills game. Up 13 zip at the half. The Bills should have been up about 24-0 at the half. They killed Houston in the first half, killed them, and yet you're only up 13-0. And so usually when that happens, especially as a Bills fan, you know that it's gonna, things are gonna go wrong in the second half, and they did. I love the Bills coaching staff, but you're up 13 zip. Your quarterback's making his first ever playoff start on the road. He throws 46 passes. And you have a 13-0 lead, a game you led the whole way. If you had told me he threw 46 passes, I'd say, oh, the Bills were trailing all game long. They're trying to come back. That would make sense. But you have a 13-0 lead. You're leading all game long, and you're throwing the ball with a quarterback who's in his first playoff start on the road, 46 times. That just seems kind of some bad coaching there. And I like their coaches. I like their offensive guy. I like McDermott, but I think they had a little playoff choke, got a little bit too big for them first playoff game, and hopefully they learn from that. And next year they come back and win some playoff games. But that was on the coaching staff, and of course Deshaun Watson, the play he made, I mean, just unreal. He kind of brought him back himself, so that's pretty unreal.
Cale, you have any thoughts on the NFL this weekend?
I think Comrade said enough for all of us.
Fair enough. Final thing.
I'm not a big NFL guy, man.
That's all right.
Not.
That's fine. But a couple basketball notes before we get out of here. The Clemson men's basketball team won over NC State. Do not buy the hot dog water. Brad Brownell is not a good coach, but
hot dog water.
Hot dog water. And then we moved to South Carolina. And Comrade and everybody was putting up the banner. South Carolina wins over 9th-ranked Virginia, and then comes home and gets their ass kicked by a Cologne. Stetson comes in and gets the win. I don't know what the hell to think about this basketball team, because I think they've got a great coach. I think they've got a guy that's going to be a first-round draft pick, and they just look stupid. And even and Frank Martin is calling him out. He's like, he said in his press conference, we have Jekyll and Hyde days. That's the absolute quote there from the coach. And I love Frank Martin, but good coaches can cut a hell of a lot down on those Hyde days, in my opinion.
My son actually went to that game, and he was amazed at number one, how shitty the team played, and number two, said that that Frank Martin, normally, we see him get very vocal when things are not going well for the Gamecocks, and they're not playing their best, and they said Frank's just kind of sitting on the bench, just chilling, and he's like, with his friend there, he's like, why is he not getting mad? Why is he not yelling? Why is he not getting pissed off? I mean, that's kind of strange. You see these teams just it's like they take games off anymore in college basketball, but that doesn't bode well, because we come out with a good conference record, but don't go far in the conference tournament. Those are the kind of losses that come back to bite you in the ass when they're selecting the at-large teams for the tournament.
I will say something. There's people who want Frank Martin fired, and I'm not. Obviously, I don't want Frank Martin fired. I'm saying most of them are dumb. But I will make a point that the people who don't like Frank Martin make one point that they have a point with, and what Cale just said there about his son watching the game. It's almost like every year Frank's trying to teach them lessons. Okay, and I think the lesson the other night was, I'm not here to bail you out. You got to figure this out on your own. Well, the problem with that is that you sacrifice games by trying to teach them a lesson. Now what Frank Martin will tell you is this is to get us better later in the year, and that may work. And his teams get better every year they play. Even the crappiest team he had, by the end of the year, they were much better in the beginning of the year. And this team will be the same way. The problem is you put yourself in such a hole now that most of the years he's here, since the good teams he's had, we seem to just fall short of the tournament because of these losses like he had right here. And so it's one thing if for sure you're going to go 14-4 in the conference, and you're like, well, I'm not worried about these games. Like Mike Krzyzewski can do that. I'm going to teach him a lesson today against this crappy team. I know we'll go 14-4 in the ACC, and we're in there. And plus we're Duke. Okay, we don't have that. And if we're a bubble team, that's a problem. So that's kind of my issue right now. The good news is this. Unlike past Gamecock teams, this team has talent. Okay? And so it's not like where we don't have any depth, or we don't have enough talent, not enough guys, which has happened in the past, not enough bodies, and you see we have a ceiling. This team has no ceiling. Okay? There are talented guys out there. And so the fact they beat Virginia is an example of how talented they are. So you'd like to think, as a Gamecock fan, that it's going to click. They're going to get it. this tough schedule they played this year against Houston, Wichita State, and Virginia is going to help them in SEC play, and they're going to have a great SEC season and get into March. Okay, that's if you're the optimistic, that's going to help them. Or you can say, if we can't beat Stetson on a given night, if we're going to go Jekyll and Hyde, then we're going to lose games in the SEC we shouldn't win. Maybe we knock off Florida, knock off Kentucky, okay, but lose to the dregs of the SEC, the A&Ms and so forth, and suddenly we're back in the, looking at the NIT bid. So I don't know to make this team either. I will say this though, if the Gamecocks don't make the tournament this year, and Frank Martin, people who don't, the Frank Martin haters of the world, they have a legitimate gripe. I'm not saying we should fire him this year, but I'm saying they have they have something now they can say, listen, this is a team that he loved, a team that was talented, and look what happened. They didn't get the tournament. And I think Frank Martin has to own that. They don't make it this year. Okay.
They have the talent, and they take the court on Tuesday nights. When we go on the air on Wednesday, we will have a full rundown of that, and we will see if the Gamecocks can start off with. They may come out and blow Florida the hell out.
Well, it would be perfectly logical for them. That would not shock me. That would not shock me. Florida's been kind of a funny team this year. Florida's supposed to be really, really good this year, and they haven't looked great. But it wouldn't shock me at all if the Gamecocks went out there and played a great game and beat Florida's butt, and we say, "Oh man, this is the Sweet 16 team again." And then whatever. So it wouldn't shock me. So I think if I'm Florida. I'm not looking forward to this game because the fact they lost to Stetson last game and they're a Jekyll and Hyde team and they beat Virginia, and you're probably going to get them playing. The Gamecocks are probably going to play at a real high level that night. That I think Florida is going to play real well to beat us that night, and I think they know that. And if I'm Florida, I would have wished we'd have beaten Stetson by about 40. But so that could be a tough game there. So we'll see what happens. But Tyrone Quarles asked, why is UNC so bad this year or struggling this year? They're not a good team. I mean, you watch their team, they're not good. I mean, they're not a good team.
Don't get your hopes up. Clemson will go up there next Saturday, and they are going to rote punch us.
If you guys can't beat them this year in Chapel Hill, you will never beat them.
Yeah, we're never winning there. I mean,
if you can't beat them this year, this streak may go to 158,000. I don't know. Like this, they're not a very good team. They're not. I mean, those. I watched them play.
Shithole though.
I watched them play. What game was I watched them play? 2 weeks ago, I saw them play.
I watched them play Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech's on fucking probation. Can't even.
I didn't see that game. I saw them play another game that they won. Actually, I saw a game that they won, and I looked at them and said they're not very talented. They're just not very good. There's a reason why they're losing.
Right.
They're not very talented. I mean, they're a pretty average team. And so,
right. I think we'll end the show on that. I hope you guys have enjoyed what we've done here. Be sure to follow myself on Twitter. I'm at Rob Sounds Good. Comrade is on Twitter at the Pesky Pole. Cale is on Twitter at Carolina Jackpot, right, Cale?
Yeah.
Okay, so follow Cale there. Tomorrow on my rundown show, I'll have Kevin Fitzgerald, the voice of the Columbia Fireflies, on. We're going to talk Gamecock basketball and his thoughts on the national championship game. Levon Kirkland also joins me this week, Clemson legend. We'll talk with him, and I'm working on some other interviews that we're going to have this week. Gentlemen, I think we're done, right?
That's it.
Yep.
And with that, this show is a wrap. All right, guys, thanks for watching us over there on Facebook. We appreciate it.